Well, with us now is the Labour MSP, Monica Lennon, who grew up as a child with an alcoholic father. Monica, thank you so much for coming in and joining us this evening. We have a picture of you as a wee girl with your father. At what point did you realise your dad had a problem with alcohol?
It probably wasn't something I was aware of early on. My dad was a social drinker, he was a pub drinker, he was a lot of fun, you know, he was smart, he was a loving dad. I think as I got older, through primary school into high school and beyond as a young adult, then I realised that my dad was relying on alcohol. It was a crutch. You know, a stressful day at work would mean going to the pub in the evening after dinner, and then eventually it would take over weekends, holidays, Mondays off work, and then it would escalate from there.
When you say took over holidays and weekends, what do you mean?
I mean that the alcohol became the focal point. My dad wouldn't have seen it that way, but in terms of, you know, his annual holidays from work, most of that would be spent in the local pub.
And, you know, it's hard enough being a teenager with everything you have to face. What was it like dealing with that?
You know, it would come in phases and it would escalate, but I think worry, just a lot of worry, especially things were getting worse. Worried about my dad falling, getting, you know, injured, and just guilt, you know, wanting to be able to fix it and create diversions. I've talked before about, I suppose, trying to do well at school and to achieve, to, I suppose, maybe make my dad proud and get his attention, because I think as a family, and I know other people have said this to me as well, you know, you feel that you're not good enough, and, you know, you do feel rejection. But, you know, now looking back, I realise I couldn't have done anything different. I see it as an illness, and, you know, perhaps there could have been other interventions in my dad's life that would have helped, but, you know, in the end, it didn't end up well.
And how did you feel then when you tried to achieve all these things and you went to uni at 16 and, you know, that didn't stop him drinking?
I know now, I know that my dad, you know, was hugely proud of me, and I know how much he loved me, but I feel regret and sadness, especially for him, because he, in many senses, because I think it started to impact his mental health as well, and he would get depressed, but he wouldn't come to family events, he wouldn't come to social events, and he craved company. At times he felt incredibly lonely, but I think because of the secrecy around drinking and alcoholism, that he kind of wanted to be away from that, so he missed out on loads. Yeah.
Well, we've got a picture of you and your dad at a wedding, not your wedding though, because you didn't ask him, did you? Now, I can't imagine having gotten married without my dad there. I mean, that must have been so difficult for you.
Yeah. I'm not going to look at Rona now. Yeah, it wasn't easy, and it wasn't an instant decision. Of course, I wanted my dad to be there more than anything in the world, but because of his behaviours at that time, and because of the anxiety that I felt, I mean, I had hoped by sort of saying, look, Dad, if this doesn't change, you won't be able to come. That would have been the ultimate ultimatum. In the end, my dad wasn't at the wedding, and that wasn't easy. I did get support from a counsellor to try and cope with that. So, yeah, my dad didn't want me down the aisle. There was no father of the bride speech. I did my own speech. So, yeah, that does hurt. But, you know, after that, there were, you know, my daughter was born, and my dad adored her and was around to be part of her life. But, yeah.
And so, when did he die, and how old was he?
It's almost 3 years. His anniversary is this month, and yeah, it just was a downward spiral. In the end, he contracted pneumonia. The alcohol harm had affected his lungs pretty badly. Smoking as well, but the whole combination of alcohol and cigarettes. And in the end, everything sort of failed. So to be handed a death certificate which has alcohol harm as a contributory factor, It just brings it all
And
home, really.
How's it affected your attitude towards alcohol?
I think it's probably made me, I suppose, reflect on many things. I mean, I probably did drink too much when I was younger, and too young, and I don't do that now. Getting older, I can't cope with the hangovers, but I've decided not to drink alcohol this month, partly because my dad's anniversary. I don't do a dry January, but like your package says, people don't really think about cancer. My mum has recovered from cancer last year, so you think about diet and alcohol and all the things that affect your health. And I think, you know, the Chief Medical Officer updated the guidelines about what's a safe amount to drink 2 years ago, and there's not really been a lot of public information about that. We don't think about how many units, we think about a glass or a bottle of beer. So that's an area I think we need to get better at that.
But do you think the minimum pricing on alcohol will help?
I hope it does. I really do. I know it's been quite controversial, and there's been a huge legal hurdle to get over. And I do commend the Scottish Government for seeing that through. There's a lot of academic research and expert opinion from doctors behind it. We hope it works, because, like you said, there's too many people dying or going into hospital, but we need to do much more than that. And I think minimum unit pricing will hopefully save lives, but recovery does too, and we have to invest in that and talk much more openly like we're doing tonight.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in
Thank you.
talking about your dad. Thank you.
Thank you.